Hello and welcome to another video in our London series. Today we will be talking about alcohol, bit of a drink, getting on the piss. Yeah. So I am from Australia. I lived there for many years of my life before moving here. Now, drinking is a thing, obviously, and I would say that both London and Melbourne have drinking cultures that are somewhat similar, but also a little bit different. So let's have a chat. Now, the first thing to note, coming from Melbourne, or probably most cities in Australia, to London, is firstly pubs. We do have pubs in Melbourne. There's probably a bit more bars, and likewise here there's both bars and pubs. Pubs are a bit more of a thing. They're very much a thing here. And going for a drink at the pub, the main difference here is standing outside pubs and drinking. The second that it is almost warm enough to think that maybe the sun exists in London, the front of a pub is filled with people standing. There's no chairs, people are just standing and drinking. Like on the sidewalk, like the footpath basically. This would never happen in Melbourne because I think it's to do with licensing. If there's tables out the front, you can sit at them and drink, but you can't stand outside with a drink. You need to be like at a table. If it's outside. Also, you know, just over here, everyone's so starved for sunlight that the second that sunlight exists, everybody wants to be outside, even though it's kind of still chilly, to be perfectly honest. But I guess it does make it easier for people that smoke, because you're outside already. You know, in places of like smoking area, or you go outside anyway. But yes, standing outside pubs drinking is very new to me. Number two, moving to London from Melbourne, and especially anywhere else in Australia, except maybe not Sydney, probably still Sydney. Everything is more expensive. So most alcohol is also more expensive, with the exception, almost exception of beer. I'm not actually a beer drinker myself, but from what I can tell, it's not as more expensive than everything else, if that makes sense. So beer is probably a similar price, whereas everything else, including rent and food, and all other alcohols, is more expensive. So if you're a beer drinker, London is a great place to be. And if you're used to drinking beer in London and you go visit Australia, you go for a night out, you're going to be like, where did all my money go? So best get some drinks and have some pre-drinks before you head out for a night on the town. Now, speaking of getting your pre-drinks, do you call them pre-drinks here? I don't know. Pre-gaming? Is that American? So say you want to buy some drinks. In London, we have the off-license. Now, an off-license is like a convenience store. Imagine a non-branded 7-Eleven that also sells alcohol for you to like take home. That's what an off-license is. They are more expensive than buying drinks at like the supermarket, but there's usually one close to your house. On the flip side, in Melbourne, you have to go to like a bottle shop or like a supermarket's bottle shop, and the alcohol it's not usually in with all the other things in the supermarket. It's usually like a separate entrance. So you have a Coles, and then next to it you have the liquor land. Whereas like Tesco here or something, you have a wine aisle next to the crisp aisle. I could really go for some crisps. Next, and I think this is our final fun fact of the day, wine glass sizes. So if you get a glass of red in Melbourne, I'll get a glass of red, and they give you a glass of red. You come here, ask for a glass of red, and they're gonna ask you, yeah, what size? They come in sizes. It's actually kind of convenient. I do like it. It's very convenient. You can get, you know, a large glass is pretty big. It's 250 mils, but you know, if you're gonna have a couple anyway, you may as well. And if you really just want a small one, you can have a small one. There's just one size in Australia, and actually I'm not sure how much it is. Let me just double check. How many milliliters are in a glass of red wine, Australia?
I found this on the web.
Actually, it turns out sometimes it's a bit inconsistent in Australia. I want to say it's usually about 150 mils. So I would say it's probably about like a medium here, which is 175. I know like Prosecco or Champagne is smaller. That's for both. So, I mean, I've tried to give you the answers, but I feel like I've just brought up more questions. Should we drink to that? If you enjoyed this, please subscribe for more videos, and we'll be back soon. Bye!